Welcome to Saving Castles, the podcast for castle and chateau enthusiasts. Join us as we explore the fascinating history, stories, and culture of these awe-inspiring structures, from the legends and folklore to the latest in restoration. We'll cover it all, so whether you're a seasoned castle aficionado or just discovering the magic of these magnificent buildings, this is the podcast for you. So grab your headphones and let's dive in.
The history of medieval castles in England is a tale of power, politics, and military strategy. As we journey back to the 11th century, we find ourselves amidst the Norman conquest when William the Conqueror and his army invaded England in 1066. The Normans, with their innovative military tactics and architecture, would forever change the landscape of the English countryside. In order to secure his newfound power and maintain control over the Anglo-Saxon population, William commissioned the construction of numerous motte and bailey castles throughout England. These early fortresses were characterized by their simple yet effective design. A wooden keep or tower situated atop a raised mound of earth, the motte, and surrounded by a lower, enclosed courtyard, the bailey. This design allowed the Normans to keep a watchful eye on their subjects and defend against potential uprisings or attacks. Over the next few centuries, castle architecture evolved as advancements in military technology and construction techniques emerged. One significant shift was the transition from wooden to stone structures. Stone castles offered greater protection and durability, as they were far more resistant to fire and siege weapons. Additionally, the construction of stone castles demonstrated the wealth and power of their occupants, further asserting their authority over the local population. A prime example of this architectural evolution is the Tower of London, which began as a wooden motte and bailey castle built by William the Conqueror in the 1070s. By the late 12th century, it had been transformed into a stone fortress that would become one of England's most iconic landmarks. Another important development in castle design was the introduction of concentric castles. These imposing fortresses featured multiple layers of walls, creating a series of defensive perimeters that would slow down and exhaust attackers. Perhaps the most famous example of a concentric castle in England is the magnificent Caernarfon Castle in Wales, built by King Edward I in the late 13th century. Throughout the medieval period, English castles played a vital role in the country's political and military affairs. They were the strongholds from which lords and monarchs ruled their lands, hosted important meetings, and launched military campaigns. Their imposing presence was a constant reminder of the power and authority of the ruling elite, serving as both a home and a symbol of their dominion. Life within the towering walls of a medieval castle was governed by a strict social hierarchy. At the top of this pyramid were the lord and his family, whose primary roles were to govern their lands and protect their subjects. The lord was responsible for maintaining the castle, administering justice, and overseeing the collection of taxes and rents. His wife, the lady of the castle, managed the household and oversaw the welfare of the castle's inhabitants. Directly beneath the lord and his family were the knights, who served as the castle's military force. They were responsible for protecting the castle and its inhabitants, as well as accompanying the lord into battle when necessary. In return for their loyalty and service, knights were often granted land and titles by the lord. The castle's servants and staff formed the backbone of its day-to-day operations. These individuals were responsible for everything from cooking and cleaning to tending to the lord's horses and maintaining the castle's defences. Among the most important members of the castle staff were the steward, who managed the lord's estates and finances, and the marshal, who oversaw the castle's military forces and maintained order within the castle. Further down the social ladder were the various tradespeople and craftsmen who lived and worked within the castle's protective walls. These individuals included blacksmiths, carpenters, bakers, and tailors, whose skills were essential for the day-to-day functioning of the castle and the well-being of its inhabitants. Many of these tradespeople lived in the bailey, the enclosed courtyard surrounding the castle's keep, where they operated their workshops and conducted business. Peasants and serfs, the lowest-ranking members of the castle community, worked the land surrounding the castle, providing food and resources for the inhabitants within. They were bound to the lord's estate and had limited rights and freedoms. Despite their lowly status, the hard work and toil of these individuals were critical to the survival and prosperity of the castle and its inhabitants. Life within a medieval castle was strictly regulated by the social hierarchy, with each member of the community knowing their place and responsibilities. This order was essential to the smooth functioning of the castle and the maintenance of the lord's authority over his subjects. From the lord and his family to the lowliest serf, each individual played a vital role in the daily life of these mighty fortresses. The security of a medieval castle was of paramount importance to its inhabitants, as the castle was not only their home, but also a symbol of their power and authority. A well-defended castle could deter potential attackers and protect the people living within its walls. As such, great care was taken in designing and maintaining the various defense mechanisms that characterized these fortresses. Moats, deep ditches filled with water, often surrounded castles to impede the progress of attackers and make it difficult for them to approach the castle walls. Drawbridges provided access to the castle across the moat, and they could be raised quickly to prevent enemy forces from entering the castle grounds. The portcullis, a heavy, vertically sliding metal or wooden grate, was another key defensive feature of medieval castles. Positioned at the entrance to the castle, the portcullis could be quickly lowered to block access and protect the inhabitants within. Arrow slits, narrow vertical openings in the castle walls, allowed archers to fire upon approaching enemies while remaining relatively safe from incoming projectiles. Castle guards, armed with weapons such as swords, spears, and crossbows, were stationed throughout the castle to maintain security and protect the inhabitants. They patrolled the walls, monitored the entrance, and were always on alert for signs of danger. In times of conflict or siege, the castle's knights would join the guards in defending the fortress, putting their martial skills to the test in the service of their lord. The daily life of the castle guard was marked by discipline and routine. Regular training exercises ensured that they remained skilled and prepared for any potential threats. Their loyalty and dedication to their lord and the castle community were vital to the security and stability of the medieval fortress. By employing a combination of defensive architecture, skilled guards, and well-trained knights, the inhabitants of England's mighty medieval castles sought to create impenetrable fortresses that could withstand the challenges of warfare and protect their power and authority in a tumultuous world. The culinary landscape of a medieval castle was diverse and fascinating, reflecting the social hierarchy and the wealth of its inhabitants. Food was not only a source of sustenance, but also a symbol of power and status, with the lord's table showcasing his resources and generosity. The diet of the lord and his family was rich and varied, incorporating a wide range of meats, such as venison, beef, pork, and poultry, as well as fish and game. These were often accompanied by an assortment of vegetables, fruits, and grains, such as peas, beans, apples, and barley. Bread made from wheat or rye was a staple at every meal. The lower-ranking members of the castle community had a more modest diet, typically consisting of bread, vegetables, and smaller portions of meat or fish. Servants and peasants often relied on pottage, a thick, hearty stew made from grains, vegetables, and whatever protein was available. While their meals were less extravagant than those of the nobility, they were still nourishing and provided the necessary energy for their daily tasks. The highlight of the castle's culinary calendar was the feast or banquet held in the Great Hall to celebrate special occasions such as weddings, religious festivals, or the arrival of distinguished guests. The Lord's table would be laden with a vast array of sumptuous dishes, ranging from elaborate meat pies and roasted game to delicate pastries and spiced wines. The quantity and variety of food served at these events were a testament to the Lord's wealth and status, and the spectacle of the feast was as important as the meal itself. Feasts were accompanied by music and entertainment, with minstrels, jugglers, and acrobats, providing amusement for the guests. Etiquette and manners were crucial, with the Lord and his guests expected to conduct themselves with grace and decorum. The feast was an opportunity for the Lord to display his hospitality and generosity, fostering alliances and strengthening political bonds. The castle kitchen was the beating heart of the medieval fortress, responsible for providing nourishment to its inhabitants and transforming simple ingredients into mouth-watering dishes. The kitchen was typically a large, bustling space, filled with the sounds and smells of food being prepared, cooked and served. The kitchen staff was a dedicated team of professionals, each with their own specialized skills and responsibilities. At the head of this culinary hierarchy was the head cook, who was responsible for designing menus, overseeing the preparation of dishes, and ensuring that the kitchen ran smoothly and efficiently. Under the head cook were a number of sous chefs and assistants, each responsible for specific tasks, such as roasting meats, preparing vegetables, or baking bread. Other kitchen staff included scullions, who washed dishes and cleaned the kitchen, and servers, who carried the prepared dishes from the kitchen to the great hall. The medieval castle kitchen was equipped with a range of tools and appliances, including large fireplaces for roasting and boiling, as well as ovens for baking. Pots, pans, and cauldrons of various sizes were used to prepare the multitude of dishes required to feed the castle's inhabitants. Food preservation was an essential aspect of castle life, as the availability of fresh ingredients was often limited by seasonal fluctuations and the need to store food for times of scarcity. Techniques such as smoking, salting, and pickling were employed to prolong the shelf life of various foods, while root cellars and pantries were used to store grains, vegetables, and other staples. The women of a medieval castle played a crucial role in its daily life, both within the lord's household and in the wider castle community. Their responsibilities and experiences varied greatly depending on their social status, but each contributed to the smooth functioning of the fortress in their own way. The lady of the castle, as the lord's wife, was responsible for managing the household and ensuring the welfare of its inhabitants. She oversaw the activities of the servants, supervised the preparation of meals, and managed the castle's stores and supplies. The lady also played a key role in the upbringing and education of her children, instilling in them the values and skills they would need as future leaders. In addition to her domestic duties, the lady of the castle was often called upon to act as her husband's representative in his absence. She might be responsible for entertaining guests, maintaining diplomatic relations, or even managing the lord's estates and finances. This required a high degree of intelligence, diplomacy, and resourcefulness, and many castle ladies were renowned for their wisdom and leadership. The daughters of the lord were typically educated in the arts of reading, writing, music, and needlework, as well as learning skills such as hawking and riding. As they grew older, they might be sent to the households of other nobles to foster relationships and learn the customs and etiquette of their future homes. Marriage was an important aspect of a noblewoman's life, as it served to secure alliances and strengthen the lord's position. Lower-ranking women in the castle, such as the wives of tradespeople or servants, had their own responsibilities and tasks to perform. They might work alongside their husbands in their trades or provide additional labor in the castle's kitchens or storeroom. Many women also played a crucial role in the raising of livestock and the cultivation of the castle's gardens, ensuring a steady supply of food and resources for the fortress. Regardless of their social standing, the women of a medieval castle faced numerous challenges and hardships, from the constant threat of violence and upheaval to the daily pressures of managing a complex and demanding household. Yet their resilience, resourcefulness, and dedication were essential to the survival and prosperity of the castle and its inhabitants. Education and leisure played an important role in the daily life of a medieval castle, providing opportunities for personal development and recreation. The lord and his family were often well educated, with an emphasis on literacy, history, and the arts. Children would receive instruction from tutors who would teach them subjects such as reading, writing, mathematics, and theology. In addition to formal education, the lord and his family would be trained in various skills and pastimes that were considered essential to their status. These might include hawking, hunting, riding, and the art of warfare. Such pursuits allowed the nobility to display their wealth, skill, and prowess, and provided valuable opportunities for socialization and entertainment. For the lower-ranking members of the castle community, leisure time was a rare luxury. However, when time allowed, they might engage in simple games and sports such as archery or dice games. Music and storytelling were also popular pastimes, with minstrels and troubadours providing entertainment and news from the wider world. Religion played a central role in the daily life of a medieval castle, with the lord and his family attending daily mass and observing religious festivals and fasts. The castle chapel was an essential feature of the fortress, providing a space for worship, contemplation, and the celebration of important religious events. Throughout the medieval period, the inhabitants of England's mighty fortresses dedicated themselves not only to the serious business of politics and warfare, but also to the pursuit of knowledge, leisure, and personal development. The rich tapestry of daily life within these walls was marked by both the challenges and the pleasures of life in a tumultuous and ever-changing world. The daily life within England's mighty medieval fortresses was a complex and fascinating blend of politics, warfare, feasting, work, education, and leisure. From the lord and his family, who governed the lands and held lavish banquets, to the knights who defended the castle and the serfs who toiled in the fields, each individual played a vital role in maintaining the fortress's stability. The elaborate architecture, impressive defences, and strict social hierarchy that characterized these fortresses were a testament to the power and authority of the ruling elite. Yet, beneath the imposing walls and battlements, a vibrant community of men and women worked tirelessly to support and sustain the castle and its inhabitants. The construction and architecture of England's mighty medieval fortresses were a testament to the engineering prowess and vision of the time. These imposing structures were designed to convey power and authority while providing protection and comfort for their inhabitants. Castle construction often began with the selection of a strategic location, such as a hilltop or a site overlooking a river or valley. This provided natural defences and made the castle more difficult for enemies to approach and attack. Once the site was chosen, construction would commence, often taking several years, if not decades, to complete. The materials used in castle construction varied depending on the region and the resources available. Stone was the most common building material, as it provided strength and durability, while timber was often used for temporary structures or interior elements. Mortar, made from a mixture of sand, water, and lime, was used to bind the stones together, creating a strong and stable structure. The architectural style of medieval castles evolved over time, as new innovations and technologies emerged. Early castles often featured a motte and bailey design, with a wooden or stone keep on a raised mound surrounded by a protective courtyard or bailey. As castle design advanced, concentric walls and multiple layers of defences became more common, providing added protection against potential attackers. Towers and turrets were key features of castle architecture, providing both defensive capabilities and living quarters for the inhabitants. The keep, or great tower, was the heart of the castle, housing the lord's apartments and serving as the final stronghold during times of siege. These towers often featured multiple levels and rooms, including the great hall, bedchambers, and storage areas. In medieval England, castles played a pivotal role in shaping the social, political, and economic landscape of the realm. These mighty fortresses served as symbols of power and authority, providing a tangible reminder of the lord's dominion over his lands and subjects. Castles often functioned as administrative centres for the surrounding estates, with the lord or his appointed steward overseeing the collection of taxes, the dispensation of justice, and the management of resources. The castle's court was a hub of activity, where disputes were settled, alliances were forged, and the lord's will was enacted. In times of conflict, castles served as military strongholds, providing protection and refuge for the lord, his family, and his subjects. The presence of a well-defended castle could deter potential attackers and provide a strategic advantage in battle. Castles were also used as staging grounds for military campaigns, with knights and soldiers gathering within their walls before setting out to conquer new territories or defend against enemy incursions. The economic impact of castles on the surrounding communities was significant, as they provided employment and commerce for local tradespeople, craftsmen, and labourers. The construction, maintenance, and expansion of a castle required a steady stream of skilled workers and materials, creating a vibrant local economy that extended beyond the castle walls. By the end of the medieval period, the role and significance of castles in England began to decline. Several factors contributed to this shift, including changes in warfare, political structures, and the emergence of new architectural styles. The advent of gunpowder and the increasing power of artillery rendered the defensive capabilities of castles less effective. Thick stone walls and high towers, once impregnable to traditional siege weapons, were now vulnerable to cannon fire, undermining the strategic value of castles as military strongholds. The political landscape of England also evolved, with the centralisation of power and the growth of a more organised bureaucratic system. As a result, the need for local lords to maintain their own fortresses diminished, and castles lost some of their administrative importance. Architectural tastes shifted during the Renaissance as the focus turned towards more elegant and comfortable residences that emphasized style over defense. The grandeur of castles gave way to the opulence of palaces and stately homes, which were better suited to the changing needs and desires of the nobility. As the importance of castles waned, many fell into disrepair, abandoned by their former inhabitants and left to the ravages of time. Some castles were repurposed or incorporated into newer structures, while others were dismantled for their valuable building materials. Despite their decline, the legacy of England's mighty medieval fortresses endures. These awe-inspiring structures continue to captivate and inspire, serving as reminders of a bygone era and providing insights into the lives and experiences of those who called these castles home. Today, the ruins of many castles still dot the English landscape, evoking a sense of mystery and wonder for those who visit them. These historic sites have become popular tourist attractions, drawing visitors from around the world who are eager to explore their storied halls and walk in the footsteps of kings and queens, knights and nobles. Castles have also left an indelible mark on our collective imagination, fueling countless stories, myths, and legends, from tales of gallant knights and fair maidens to epic battles and treacherous betrayals. The stories of castles and their inhabitants have enthralled audiences for centuries. The architectural and engineering achievements of medieval castles have also had a lasting impact, influencing the design and construction of buildings throughout history. The techniques and innovations developed by medieval builders and craftsmen continue to be studied and admired as we seek to better understand the ingenuity and artistry of our ancestors. The preservation and restoration of England's medieval castles are vital endeavours, as they ensure that these historic treasures remain accessible and relevant for future generations. Through dedicated conservation efforts and the support of organisations, governments and individuals, the rich heritage and cultural significance of these fortresses can be preserved and celebrated. Restoration projects often involve a delicate balance between preserving the authenticity and integrity of the castle's original structure and incorporating modern conveniences and safety features to ensure the site is accessible and enjoyable for visitors. This may include stabilizing walls, repairing roofs, and restoring original architectural elements, while also adding pathways, lighting, and signs to facilitate public access. Educational initiatives and interpretive programs are also integral to the preservation of castles, as they help to foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of the site's history, architecture, and cultural context. Guided tours, exhibits, and interactive experiences can bring the stories of these castles to life, engaging visitors and inspiring a sense of connection to the past. The enduring fascination with castles has permeated popular culture, as these iconic structures have served as the backdrop for countless films, television shows, novels, and other forms of artistic expression, from swashbuckling adventures and romantic tales to fantasy epics and historical dramas. Castles have captured the imagination and provided a captivating setting for stories of all genres. Notable examples of castles in popular culture include the fictional land of Westeros in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, which features numerous castles, such as Winterfell and King's Landing. The Harry Potter series also features the imposing Hogwarts Castle, which serves as a magical school for young wizards and witches. In cinema, castles have been featured in countless films, from epic historical dramas such as Braveheart and The Lion in Winter to fantasy epics such as The Lord of the Rings. Castles have also served as the setting for classic tales of romance and adventure, such as The Princess Bride and Robin Hood. The enduring popularity of castles in popular culture is a testament to their enduring appeal and power as symbols of history, strength, and imagination. The popularity of castle tourism and travel has grown significantly in recent years as more and more people seek to explore these iconic structures and immerse themselves in the rich history and culture of medieval England. Castles offer a unique and unforgettable travel experience, transporting visitors back in time and providing a glimpse into the lives and experiences of those who inhabited these fortresses. From grand staterooms and opulent banqueting halls to the humble quarters of servants and labourers, castles offer a rich tapestry of sights, sounds, and stories. Castle tourism has also been a boon to local economies, generating revenue and employment opportunities for local businesses and communities. In addition to tours and exhibits, many castles offer a range of amenities and services, including accommodation, dining, and shopping, making them attractive destinations for travellers seeking a full-service experience. As we look to the future, the fate and continued relevance of England's mighty medieval castles remain a subject of ongoing discussion and debate. While these structures continue to captivate and inspire, they also face numerous challenges and threats, from the ravages of time and the impacts of climate change to the financial pressures of maintenance and preservation. However, with dedicated conservation efforts and the support of organizations, governments, and individuals, the future of these fortresses looks bright. Ongoing restoration projects, educational initiatives, and tourism initiatives are all helping to ensure that the legacy and cultural significance of England's castles will be preserved and celebrated for generations to come. New technologies and innovations are also being developed to enhance the visitor experience and improve the safety and accessibility of these historic sites. Virtual reality, augmented reality, and other digital tools are being utilized to create immersive and interactive experiences that engage visitors and help them to better understand the history and context of these remarkable structures. England's mighty medieval castles stand as enduring testaments to the ingenuity, strength, and resilience of our ancestors. These awe-inspiring structures continue to captivate and inspire, serving as reminders of a bygone era and providing insights into the lives and experiences of those who called these fortresses home. Through conservation, education, and tourism, we can ensure that the rich heritage and cultural significance of these fortresses are preserved and celebrated for generations to come. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Saving Castles podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue to explore the fascinating world of castles and chateaux. Don't miss out and subscribe to our podcast to get notified when new episodes are released. For more information about us and our work, visit savingcastles.com. Thank you for listening.